In the news this week, vegan activist Tash Peterson discouraged to come to Royal Show as farmers say animals are pampered. An exclusive interview coming up.
Also tonight, cost of living, housing and migration. Leading commentator identifies must tackle issues by government before 2025. And a teenager arrested over cannabis lollies he allegedly sold to school kids. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loon and Maliva Thorne.
Good evening. As the Royal Show approaches, regional farmers are trying to discourage vegan activists like Tash Peterson from disrupting the event. In an exclusive interview, the Pastoralist and Graziers Association WA President Tony Seabrook stated that he and the farming community would be very disappointed if he shows up at the Claremont Showgrounds this year. Paige Reid begins our coverage.
Tony, thanks for your time. I want to start by talking about activist Tash Peterson. She has been very vocal in past years about her views on animals in the show. Do you expect her to make another show this year?
I couldn't possibly understand what her thinking is or whether she'd be there or not. It would be very disappointing if she was.
What is your opinion on activists that have been protesting about show animals within the Royal Show? Do you think there's going to be any new stunts this year?
Look, they need to be a part of the real world. There is a real world out there. The Royal Show, those animals are so pampered, they're so well cared for, they are spoiled, absolutely rotten. What I would say to her is there's some appalling things happening to livestock out in the rangelands, absolutely horrific. Get yourself tuned in, find out what's happening, and give us a hand to deal with wild dogs and what wild dogs are doing. It is so short-sighted, it's so insular. You know, the lady really does need to address the views that she holds.
How are these activists and protesters disruptive for you guys?
Well, we produce the food that everybody eats. I mean, for heaven's sake, it doesn't come out of the sky. Now, farmers produce the food that you eat. Why on earth are you attacking farmers? We are asking for help in a range of other issues, wild pigs and wild dogs. There's so much she could do to help. Why is she so intent on making nothing but a damn nuisance out of herself in an area where she obviously knows very little about what she's talking about?
If there is anything that you could say to Tash Peterson or any of the other activists who are looking to come protest at the Royal Show this year, what would you say to them?
Find out about what we do in our industry. Talk to people and find out. I mean, there's no better place for any sheep to be than on a live export vessel. That is the most safest, secure, best welfare situation that's there. And she keeps using words like horrendous and horrific. She is so far out of tune with the real world and she doesn't even know it.
What should the people of WA be looking forward to most about the Royal Show this year, and what makes this year different?
I would hope good weather and a great day out. Unfortunately, too many people see it as about sideshows and show bags and not so much about the agriculture that it is. This is agriculture at its very best on show in town for everybody to go and see. So go and enjoy the animals, the cattle, the sheep, be part of what the Royal Show is all about because it is the agricultural Royal Show, not the show bag sideshow alley Royal Show. Just under a bit more pressure. Once again, unrelenting pressure. People are complaining about the cost of living and about inflation. There are wage rises flowing through the system that most people are getting. There is no wage rise whatsoever for a primary producer. Our product is marketed at auction around the world. There will be no pay rise. Our primary producers are taking it on the chin as inflation erodes their income. So we're copying a belting at the moment. So obviously inflation at 5%, our incomes have dropped by at least that much. So it's a tough gig.
In the blink of an eye, we've passed the middle of 2024. With the election around the corner and the cost of living crisis refusing to go away, leading commentators say the crisis must be tackled by 2025 before the dual elections roll around. The government's failure to manage migration, population and housing growth will also be accounted for. Here is Peter Kennedy.
At the federal and state levels, all major parties are looking towards elections. The state government election in March next year and a federal election, well, whenever Anthony Albanese thinks that the Labor Party is best placed to win a second term. The issues, obviously cost of living, interest rates with the Reserve Bank intimately involved, but it's cost of living, the cost of grocery items, household costs. But not only that, in Western Australia, it's the cost of land and it's the cost of housing. And the government, the Cook government, must take responsibility for the fact that migration levels or population growth and housing growth are out of kilter. Population growth has been far in excess of the capacity of the state to provide the housing and also the land on which to build. So those costs have gone through the roof. The government must come up with a concerted package to ease the pressure on the housing costs and also on the cost of land. That's demand and supply. The government controls, or the government can work on the land, but as far as the public are concerned, voters are concerned, it's cost of living in Western Australia, price of housing, price of land. The government and the opposition, I guess, from their point of view, must come up with solutions to ease the pressure on ordinary families. Peter Kennedy, WA-MN News.
Hi there. Are you looking for a new home or want to refinance your car mortgage to get a better rate? At AA Finance Solutions, we have the expertise and knowledge to help you to find the right loan for your needs and budgets. Contact us today. Let us help you to make your home ownership dream a reality.
AA Finance Solutions, your local mortgage broker.
A teenage boy has been charged with several drug offences after allegedly making and selling lollies with cannabis in them to school kids. The 16-year-old boy from Dalkeith was charged by Perth detectives. Police will be alleged the boy manufactured the cannabis lollies and sold 3 to a student at a Western Suburb school on Tuesday. The lollies were then ingested by the student and another female student, both aged 16 years old. The 2 students required hospitalization. The teenager was put into custody by police and faces 5 charges, including selling an illegal drug, having illegal drugs and planning to give or sell them, having drugs paraphernalia, and more. The boy was bailed and due to face the Perth Children's Court on September 5th, 2024.
Police in Western Australia are putting in place a trial of a drone in a box, the first trial of its kind in the country. The technology is designed to better intelligence gathering and safety for police officers that are in the process of dealing with emergencies. The trial has begun at Yanchep Police Station and the footage the drone takes is able to be live streamed to police officers' mobile phones, officers who are working on the front line. Police Minister Paul Papalia said that the drone is yet another example of the Western Australian police forces leading the nation when it comes to adopting modern technology to enhance emergency response capability and make WA safer for everyone. The drone footage can also be sent to agencies and other officers at the State Operations Command Centre. The drone has currently completed 80 flights and been used to success in scenarios such as simulated missing person searches. Commissioner Blanche also stated that he is excited about the technology.
Perth's beloved animal sanctuary is under threat, with the little penguin on Rockingham's Penguin Island at risk of extinction. A state parliamentary petition has been launched urging the government to establish a penguin discovery facility to boost local education, enhance conservation efforts, and encourage sustainable tourism. The petition, launched by Liberal Rockingham candidate Hayley Edwards, supported by MP Neil Thompson and Councillor Peter Hudson, also calls for the development of an urgent comprehensive recovery plan, a public inquiry, a push for the upper house to take immediate action to reverse the decline, ensuring the little penguins have a future.
The penguins on Penguin Island are at risk of local extinction. The latest report in 2023 done by Dr. Carnell from UWA states that we only have 114 penguins left, and that has declined by 64% since 2019. We have been in numerous conversations with the state government. There has been no action on a recovery plan to try and repopulate our little penguin colony.
Well, I have been campaigning on this issue for a number of years, and the science is clear that there is a serious crisis for the penguin population over there on the island. The council has met with a number of scientists who've conducted studies on this issue throughout the years, and it's clear that the state government is hiding from this issue.
The WA gas industry is facing criticism over emissions, with growing calls for export bans and transparency in government policies following a parliamentary report. The Conservation Council has said WA's gas industry is driving up domestic and global emissions at a time when they need to be rapidly reduced. Fossil Fuels Program Coordinator Liam Lilly says they welcome the final report's recommendation for a ban on the export of any onshore gas. gas. Lilly says the committee have found that Woodside's Pluto project contributes just 2% of its overall product when it comes to the domestic market. Shadow Minister of Energy Dr Steve Thomas says the opposition also believe the policies released by the Cook Labor government highlight the shortfalls of domestic gas. The committee recommends that the state government allow onshore gas projects to export LNG only if the domestic market is adequately supplied. Western Australia is expected to remain well supplied for some time due to the 15% supply policy.
And now here's Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. Doctors across the country frustrated this week with the news that we need to start rationing intravenous fluids, the saltwater drips that we give to patients in emergency and elective situations in order to balance their body fluids properly. And we're being told by the authorities that this is due to an international shortage, but those claims are not really ringing true, unfortunately, because there's no other comparable country currently reporting any issue with access to intravenous fluids. So it's starting to look like there has been warnings ignored that this situation might come to a crunch sometime this year, and other plans have not been put in place in sufficient time in order for us to continue with particularly elective procedures in a timely manner. This is incredibly disappointing given the number of people who are working really hard to try and keep our struggling health system on the rails. And whilst it seems that this is primarily a federal issue with a national procurement and supply and escalating this issue quickly enough, also is incumbent, of course, upon state governments that run the health systems to be across these kind of issues and make sure that other arrangements are in place. Very difficult to quickly scale up manufacture of sterile, high-tech intravenous fluids, which need to be in special bags and prepared in special facilities and also tested to make sure that their integrity is correct. So all round, it seems as though we are going to need to probably reduce some elective surgery in the near future in order to make sure that we have safely quarantined supplies for emergency situations. Even small facilities that might do only minor procedures still need to have enough intravenous fluid on hand to deal with severe allergic reactions, anaphylactic reactions. We can sometimes use 10 or 12 litres of fluid on a patient in those circumstances. So we have to set aside those amounts of fluid even to just proceed with simple procedures. So watch this space. Hopefully the government will come up with a nimble solution, although you don't usually call the government saying quickly we need a fast response to this problem. It is ringing a little bit of the memories around COVID when we were trying to get vaccines and we ended up at the back of the queue for those. And it seems as though we're back in a situation where we're reliant on supply chains that have not on this occasion delivered. Australia, being an island continent, needs to be more reliant on its own production and its own storage facilities of these kind of basic essential items for healthcare so that we don't come grinding to a halt. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Doctor. And now here's Austin with what's coming up on 6 News tonight.
Thank you very much, guys. The top stories we're following on 6 News right now. The racing industry mourns the death of champion horse Black Caviar just one day before her 18th birthday. Spectacular scenes at the Gold Coast Pacific Air Show with viewers from right around the world having a look. And ongoing fallout after the New South Wales Liberal Party missed a deadline for its local government election candidate nominations. You can watch live 24/7 on the 6 News YouTube channel. For now though, guys, it's back to you.
Thanks, Austin. And what a week it's been when it comes to the weather.
It certainly had a lot of rain, and of course, remember to drive safe and slow down on the roads.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Remember to subscribe to the WAMN Extra News Club so we can continue our work in the community. Full details on wamnnews.com.au/news/extra. From Melly, Paige, Peter, and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next Sunday.
Thanks for watching.